Everybody, turns and faces the door to back up. And the elevator dropped on the floor, and this great big heavy set woman come to the door slid open. She just turned around and backed up, and she looked just like it right up in that little boy's face. Door slid shut just right past her nose. And went down another floor, and the door slid open. That old big woman, and shot out of there. Everybody looked at that little boy. He said, "I did it, I did it." She stuck it in my face, and I bit it.
Everybody use that.
Well, it's true.
What the heck?
Anyway.
This is the mayor, right?
Who is this? Tell us who you are.
Do I? Oh, you all don't know?
No, we don't know. Not you to dress up for
We've had a
us.
lot.
Hey, I'm sorry, but I've been at work.
You could have buttoned your fly first.
Let me button my fly. It won't stay buttoned, Jim. I don't know what it is.
Don't go there.
Don't let the cow out of the barn. That's what grandma used to say.
You might want to use a fake name now.
To introduce myself, my name's Tim Litz. I have the fortunate, and I have to say, Jim Lloyd was part of the reason for this, as the mayor of the town. I never would have believed. As a child, I never made any aspirations to have any political office. Although I don't know how far being the mayor of Rural Retreat's will be as far as political office. They don't even make us declare a party. But anyway. And my daddy's first started coming to see Jim when he was first in here. You remember that in another station over there? And I just got to coming by.
And what do you make a reasonable facsimile of a living doing?
A reason, that's about far it is. That's why the clothes, they've got patches on. They're making up to buy new ones.
Don't need new clothes.
My brother and I own a plating shop. Of all things, I was educated as an environmental technician, ended up being a plater. So anyway, we have a little small shop, and it's sort of slow now, but anyway, we're still alive, still going.
And how long has your family been here?
The Litzes came, I have to think just a minute, in the early 1800s, maybe 1820, something like that. But they,
One of your ancestors was a war hero.
yeah, a big war hero. He loaded up on the train here, left for retreat. This is at the beginning of the Civil War, and went to Montgomery County. It was in the Radford area, and was killed by, he had his rifle over his shoulder and sitting under an apple tree, and the lightning struck the tree and killed him. So I call that the Litz luck. But anyway,
Let's not lighten luck. Huh?
yeah, that's exactly right. But he was a Confederate soldier, what had me 3 times great-grandparent. Then the one on the other side, the Copenhagen, my mother, her people, they came in the late 1700s. But anyway, we're retreating in this vicinity for several hundred years, 200 years nearly. So anyway, it's
What's the greatest thing about Rural Retreat?
the atmosphere. I moved away. I thought that I had to leave to make a living. Well, I guess maybe that's right. I probably should still leave to make a living. But we
all understand that one,
yeah, that's exactly right. I moved to Richmond in the mid-70s, and then moved back home. And I was born and raised here, and I never was satisfied away. I needed home. This was home. Eddie and I went to school together. We played together as kids. I mean, it goes back. I guess we both look well worn for it, but we've been here a long time. All this family was. My granddaddy was one of the local characters, and I've been told I'm carrying on the tradition, like Hank Jr.'s song, the family tradition. Anyway, that's.
And when you say atmosphere, what do you mean?
It's just a big family. We bicker and argue and carry on. The retired town manager said this town was full of people. They would forgive you, but they'll never forget. So they're supposed to forgive and forget, but they don't forget. They'll remind you about it. But everybody, it's one big family. We all just stay here together, and we know each other's scaly undersides just as well as the good to them. I've never regretted coming back to Little Tree. It's always been a thing for me that, well, I was just homey and homely, I guess, at the same time. But anyway, we'll put those words together.
Do you think anything you want to say?
How long have you been coming to the barber shop?
Jim, when did you come in here?
86.
It was probably 87 or 8. He moved from below up here.
Oh no, I've been up here 20 years, so it's.
Well, we were visiting down
92.
below.
Yeah, that's right. We were.
You
So
know,
it's been over 20 years.
Been more than 20 years since we've come in here. And I always played music as well. That was our commonality with the barbershop, play music. But I always played electric music, and we'll come in here. Jim makes fun of it. So
Tell them where you learned to play music.
I went to my father one day and they said, would you teach me some chords? So Daddy said, yeah, I'll teach you a few chords. So I learned a few chords, but there was an old man, the picture's up right over here, Stuart Miller. My first cousin, I talked to him and said, give us some guitar lessons, all right?
But what did Stuart Miller do?
Stuart was a barber.
He was the barber,
He
right?
was a barber by trade. He was a tune pianist. But the old man had the Miller Gibson Orchestra. He was actually a Gibson representative. He sold guitars. My mother bought my first electric bass from the old man. But we would go see the old man, and he one night, on Tuesday night, we went and he showed us chords. He had to have been in his late 70s then. So we got, well, thank you, Mr. Miller. How much we owe you? It was $1. But Jim, you need to take it. And it was about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes the old man played too. Wouldn't have any interruptions.
You who have stolen how many lessons off of me?
Yeah, I've got a fortune.
He's sitting here when I've taught people and stole lessons.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to play that. And I said, listen, Jim, what I
Just pick it
learned.
up through osmosis.
No, I watched. And they said, well, that kid's paying for it. I'll just take it. The old man gave us the lesson, and we got up to leave. No, we had to walk. It was long before we were driving. And because Steve lived here next door, actually, this big old white house, and I lived across town. And he said, there won't be any more lessons. We're done. Oh, Mr. Miller, don't do that. I said, no, we'll play. You don't need any lessons. You just need to play. So each Tuesday night, we go from 7 to 9 or 9:30 and play with them. That was
Now, was this in River Tree?
oh yeah, this
cool.
right out
Stuart
right
Miller.
out Richmond Avenue.
Stuart
neat.
Miller came here in 1925 and took the barber shop over.
The same guy?
Yeah, there's only been,
So you kind of continued that tradition?
in the last 100 years, there's only been about 6 barbers
It's
in the last 100 years here.
either we don't have much hair or they stay with it for us. Y'all joking aside, he had quit cutting hair a long time ago when I was done that. He was tottering and old, but we learned a lot. And I made the comment, I'll do this, you can edit whatever, but I made the comment that Jim didn't like old time music. I said, what was the name of that? He played a song and he said, I know that one. Well, I don't know many of them, but I knew a lot of the songs that he was playing because Miss Stuart Miller had done it and some of this, so I knew a lot of those songs. I didn't know the name.
Yeah, he didn't recognize the fact that that's what he was
I
playing.
didn't know what I
He knew the
like
songs.
old time. I knew it, you know. And I was never a picker, but play rhythm, play bass, and all that. But it was, we had had a lot of good times in here playing old songs. Where'd you get that one from? Or where'd that come from? And it's been a learning experience from that. So.
Rural Retreat is.
And that's part of the history of
Rural
our
Retreat is
area.
historically a very musical. The whole town has been like that for generations.
Uncle Bud, if he lived another few months, he'd have been 100. But he was an edge picker. He fiddled some, but he was an interesting old character as well too. But anyway, they lived a long time, and like I said, my grandfather Litz never drove. He never owned a car. He died in the early 80s, but he never drove.
That's one of the things that I always thought was funny too, is the mingling of the generations. Bud Litz, he was talking about, played with Carl Vaught. Carl's coming up on 90 now, and Carl's played with all of
They
us.
said we sit up here and
So it's all connected.
All the generations, yeah.
it overlaps. We own a bass now that the Carl Vault bunch played in the late 40s, and I've still got the bass, and we've played them. I missed a chance to play at the Retreat Fair, and one of the fellows said, you know, you need to tell everybody that these old men, this bass was the one that they played with in the 40s.
We had I've got one of the guitars that Carl Vaught's band had in the 40s, and I got a recording of the guy playing it, Frank
Fielder.
Yeah, Frank Fielder playing it, but Frank bought it from Stuart Miller. Everything. He said
The old man, the old Barber.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
his daddy bought it for him. I think he said he gave $12 for it in 1937.
Wow.
And it was a used guitar in 37. Stuart Miller had stole it. Stuart Miller sold it, and then it came
Taking it back on trade.
Came back in on trade, and he sold it to Frank.
It's you know, it hasn't changed a lot. Jim came in here from out and had to work at being accepted, and has been. Everybody, they put him in the forgive but never forget. It's part of that.
There's been some mistakes. Let's put it that way.
If you live with people, you're going to make mistakes. But if
I was
you,
telling Katie about that when I got here. I said, you know, it took a long time.
oh,
for
no,
people even.
you ain't from here.
From
I would be interviewed, not talked to. I would be asked questions all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's right. Where are you from, girl?
Yeah, what church do you go to?
Where's your family? There's a lot of.
And I was born in Whitfield and had family in
Tim,
Roseau.
Ern Gordon come up to me. Ern had a garage here for like 300 years. And when I first came here, I'll never forget that. He came in and shot me. He said, "Boy, who are you?"
Yeah.
I said, "Jim Lloyd." He said, "What's your dad's name?" I said, "Bill Lloyd." He said, "What's your grandpa's name?"
Yeah.
I said, "Arthur Lloyd." He said, "What's your great-grandpa's name?" I said, "John Lloyd." He said, "I don't know any of the people."
You ain't from around.
He went way back over there.
And I see, Jim used to say to me, he said, "Oh, you know, I had a long time before anybody accepted me." Well, I said, I don't know anything about that, because this town was notorious. If you came up on somebody into the house or whatever, they didn't know whether they were going to feed you or smack you. So the African thing is, they talk about it takes an entire village to raise a child. Eddie and I were part of the village. You know,
Yeah.
we grew up in it. Like I said, if you didn't think you wouldn't get smacked, you
And it is. and
pop that mouth.
It's still like that around here. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
kids in town, like that little girl just asked for the bus.
Where's my daddy?
all the kids in town, we see them all the time, and if one of them got in trouble or something, nobody would hesitate to
Right.
jump in there and
No,
help
they
them.
said, I told you, I'll tell your daddy what you did. But it's, you have to be able to live and see the trucks hauling a hog crate. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Eddie wore his traditional shoes. I got shoes and socks on today. But Eddie did.
You got those from the swamp. The crocodiles.
Crocs, yeah. They
I
were
lost,
ones too.
I lost one down in Clater Lake. Yeah. There was a sighting. They seen crocs.
Croc sighting, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, a pink shit from down the lake. That's good. That's the story of a retreat.
Have a good leave.
Well, thank you bunches.
We'll just send them in their bargain.